So people have been asking me on social media as well as here on the channel, like, Russ, how do you prepare for the next trip, the next overland adventure? What do you take with you? What's in the packing list? You've probably seen these questions asked in your Facebook groups and other social media platforms that maybe you're involved with. This video is really, I'm just gonna not give you a list of everything that I take, because to be honest, that varies quite a lot depending on the trip. But I'm gonna give you a simple acronym that you can use moving forward that'll help you get ready for your next overland adventure. Stay tuned. So yeah, we've all seen the post. Questions like, what do I need to take? How do I pack for my trip? A big long list of, this is like you're actually watching somebody put things in their vehicles and reasons why. And to be honest, none of them are wrong. But rather than give you a big long list of all the things that I take with me, I'm just gonna give you a simple acronym that you can use to get ready for your next trip. It's pretty simple and on brand. It's adventure. And that's it. It's really that simple. But for the sake of a little bit of explanation and a dash of detail, let's get into it. All right, so first up, point A to point B, know your routes. So once you've decided that you're gonna go somewhere, you need to figure out where it is that you wanna go, right? So you need to look at the route, figure out your point A, figure out your point B, figure out the main route that you want to stick to, some alternate routes. Make sure to take note of any points of interest, but also campsites, waterfalls, anything that you want to go and do, or hikes along the way, little offshoots of the trail. You also want to look at alternate routes too, just in case there are like gate closures and things of that nature. And then also do your research on that route, right? See what other people have done. See what you can expect. You want to check out recent weather for the area and so on. Like for example, Beasley Knob, if it rains, it's probably closed. Or there are parts like up here in North Carolina where I am, Hurricane Creek. If it has rained, it's a lot more of a challenge than it is, if it's dry. And that's the case for most trails, especially here on the eastern coast. All right, so next up is D. D is for devices, also downloads. I use Gaia to actually plan my route first, and then I take a look at that. I download the area to make sure that no matter what, I still have a signal and I know where I am. I know where my location is on the particular map in my route. But also, do not forget your chargers, because if your device goes dead, you don't have a map anymore. That's a good way to get lost. So make sure that whatever devices you bring the appropriate batteries or chargers, charging cables, things like that. Go ahead and download the area, at least that's my suggestion. Download the area on your device so that you have that there, and then also mark all your waypoints and your like points of interest that I talked about in the first point, as well as alternate routes and things of that nature. So make sure all of that information is on all of your devices. Next up is V. V is for your vehicle. Make sure that your vehicle is in good working order, that all the bolts are tight. If you've installed any new modifications, make sure you've done an appropriate shakedown or rundown on that. Make sure that everything is in good working order, that all your fluids are good, you don't have any leaks, things of that nature, because once you get onto the trail, you want to be as safe as you can and making sure that your vehicle is capable enough to get you off the trail. All right, E is for emergency. You want to make sure that you have equipment and the knowledge to take care of yourself and others in the event of an emergency. Make sure that you're prepared for inclement weather, that you're prepared to defend yourself against furry friends or otherwise nefarious folks that might be out there on the trail in the late or early hours of the morning. Make sure you have a way to communicate with the outside world, either with like a Garmin InReach or something like that. Making sure that people know where you're going to go before when you should be back, and then little check-ins and things like that never hurt, especially if it's a longer trip. But yeah, know what you're going to do in an emergency. Okay, N is for all things nutrition. All right, so food and water, making sure that you know what you're taking. Can you prep anything ahead of time to make it easier at camp? Does everything or anything need to be kept cool? So you have a cooler and ice, or you have a fridge. How are you going to prepare your meals? Do you need extra fuel for your stove or gas for your stove? Do you need extra firewood to, cook over the campfire at night? And then most importantly, or not most importantly, but definitely important, as important, make sure you know how you're going to clean up after yourself. Critters love leftovers, and it's no joke. Little ones, big ones, they love leftovers. So very important, take what you need to cook and prepare your food, and also make sure you clean up after yourself. All right, guys, next up is tools. Now this can vary depending on the rig, depending on your experience level, but just make sure that at a bare minimum, absolute bare minimum, you have enough tools and the right tools, the right sizes, wrenches, sockets, whatever it may be, to do simple trail repairs. So changing a tire, changing or removing a drive shaft, things like that. Make sure that you have all of those, all of the tools required to do those simple trail repairs. Because honestly, if you don't, a spare tire is no good to you if it's stuck on the back of your Jeep. So make sure you at least have the bare minimum tools required to do simple tool repair or simple trail repairs. All right, and the all-important you. That's right, you. You're gonna have to bear with me. I know it doesn't start with a Y, but you, yourself. This is for everything that you need to make your trip go well for you. So how are you going to sleep, right? How are you going to, what hygiene products are you going to take? Make sure you bring a toothbrush, toothpaste, toilet paper. I cannot stress enough how important toilet paper is. It is actually a multifunctional tool as well. So I guess it could have gone on the other. You can start fires with it. You can clean yourself up with it. You can wipe down your Jeep if you need to. So yeah, definitely toilet paper. Definitely think about sleeping. Definitely think about your hygiene and taking care of yourself, because to be quite honest, if you're on the trail with your friends for a couple of days, you don't want to be the stinky one. All right, this next one, a lot of people might not think is as important, but I happen to disagree. I kind of think it's one of the most important things, and that's recovery gear. You don't want to be stuck on the trail. Okay, so if you get yourself in a hairy situation, it's much better to, live the wheel another day, pull some line, get yourself out of the situation, get unstuck. It's just really important, especially if you're going out there by yourself. Now, if you're as a part of a group, make sure that, between all of you, you have a way to recover each other. The last trail ride that I went on, we were on some very simple trails, and lo and behold, a very dangerous situation sprung about. So everybody jumped into action with, a couple of winches, some traction boards, a tow rope, everything. Everybody had everything. And luckily, everybody came out of that alive and, unscathed, except for a little bit of emotional damage, I guess. But recovery gear is super, super important. You may not ever need it for yourself, but at least you'll have it so that you can help out someone else if they do. All right, we're finally at the last one, and that is E. That is for extras. Okay, so we're talking extra water, extra fuel, extra things, whatever keeps you comfortable, like creature comforts. Do you need that extra fluffy pillow? Do you need that extra big jacket? It's really just going to depend, right? It's going to depend on how much room you have available in your rig, but it's also going to depend on how long you're on the trail. So if you want to bring that extra thick jacket or whatever else, just in case, then this is the category for that. So that's E, that's for extras. All right, guys, and that is it. That is how you plan, pack, prepare for whatever the next adventure. And the cool thing is that it actually applies to just a weekend or a cross-country trip, right? It's just a category. So remember the acronym adventure, and you should be all set. My hope is that you found this video somewhat informative, or at least entertaining. If you did, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot of new content coming up in the next couple of weeks. Quite a few trips planned, quite a few events planned. If you watch my update video, you'll kind of know a little bit more about that. That was a previous video to this one. I'm also on other social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook. I am Adventurous Jeep on there, so stop by, say hello that way. And lastly, I hope that you are living life adventurously. And until the next time, I'll see you on the trail.